Hello guys, welcome to our new video. In this part, I will be focusing on coloring, but before continue our process from our previous character, I want to show you some important notes first. So what I want to inform in here is how to make the assets looks connected even though they are separated. For the example, in the case of banks, even though you later will separate the banks into several parts, you need to make sure that the banks looks like one unit. We didn't want the banks look like separated with each other. We want to make sure it looks as connected as possible because they are, what I want to say, they are from the same surface. For the example nose, but I will show you more clear example like this. Let's just imagine this is the nose. And as you can see right now, there is no problem with the nose, right? It looks connected, it looks seamless, but then when you try to move it a little bit far, okay, then you can see how disconnected it is with the face. And the reason of why is because the edge is really sharp and we didn't want that in our assets. I know some of you start wondering like why we need to make the asset look more seamless than this, because it's not like nose will move that much, right? You probably also only plan to move it a little, and this kind of asset is enough. But it is far better to be safe than sorry. Making the asset look seamless will give you more freedom and flexibility in moving the asset, so you didn't need to worry if it look detached later. So because nose is actually stick to the face skin, right? It's basically one same surface. That's why we need to make sure it looks attached with each other. And to gain that effect, what we are gonna do is we are gonna soften the edge. And there is various way in soften the edge. You can use like blur tool, smudge tool, but what I'm gonna use right now is just an eraser. Basically, I'm just gonna use soft eraser that have like that kind of blurry effect. And then we are just gonna erase a little bit of the edge. That's why I really like to make the bleed a lot on the assets. With that case, we can have a space to be erased for safety measurements. Right now, like you can see, after erasing it, and then try to move it, now it looks blending more than before. It's not 100% perfect, but it is far better than previous results. That's a lot. Let's give another example. Let's just say I want to put some nekomimi or cat hairs, right? Right now you can see there is no problem with how it attached with the hair. It looks connected, but when you try to move it, now you can see how broken it looks. Like you can see how much it looks separated. And we want to minimize that effect as much as possible. Now I will compare it to the second assets. This one. That's why I always say that try to make the bleed as much as possible, because there is somehow like this case too, which you need to erase some parts. And having this kind of gap will help you to make it work as safe zone. So I'm just gonna erase it a little bit, not a little bit, but like a lot with eraser tool, because I have make enough safety gap. So I'm just gonna erase like this, and I'm gonna put other example. So I'm just gonna erase it as similar as the right, the left I mean. Now, they are now both look almost the same, but just different cutting. Like you can see, different cutting. One have soft edge and one have hard edge. Now, when you try to move it, you can see how much assets on the left look disconnected. Meanwhile, asset on the right looks blended more. So having this kind of edge will help your asset look seamless. You can also add more effect using smudge tool. I really like to use that tools. I'm just gonna use smudge tool to just match the shape more. So more. So we match the angle with the surface. Now, if I turn it on, it blends more well, better than before. Let me hide. You can see the difference. Like, yes, this is really important. Okay, now is the question appear, like which part is okay to make it have a hard edge and which parts need to make it have like soft edge. So you need to analyze if the assets are connected in the same surface or not. So for the example, like the choker I draw before, right? So choker and neck is not one part. It's not like choker is a part of your skin. That's why you doesn't need to like blur the choker because they are literally a different object. You don't need to smudge it to blend it or something because yeah, it's individual. But in just some case like the neck and the body supposed to be attached to each other, right? They are one part of the skin, so it is better to also blur the edge, make it have soft edge instead. That way you can trick it so when the parts moving, it will not look detached too much. The same with front and back color. Right now it's not too obvious. Like if you move it, it looks blended enough. But it will be far better if you blur the edge again. Just make sure the edge is soft. That way it will be looks less detached. But in case with arm, like we all know that the shirt is supposed to be connected with each other, but because there is a line in here, so you didn't need to blur it. But in case you didn't have the line, like for the example like this, then it is better to soften the edge too. So in the case you didn't have the line, it still look connected. It still looks good. It still looks connected. Okay, I think that's just for the example. So basically, if it's attached to each other, have continuous surface, it is better to blur the edge. Okay, I will make another example, the last one. What if you want to add an extra strands of hair. We're just gonna shade it a little. Probably something like this. Okay, when you try to animate it, it still looks okay. Because the bottom part of the hair is supposed to be detached anyway. But in the case of the root, you can see if you move it, it will look really detached. In this case, for the hair, I really recommend to just, blur the edge, but with smudge tool. So something like this. Try to maintain the shape, follow the shape and the angle like this. That way, when the hair move, it still looks attached. Look how smooth it is. Compared if you just cut it with hard edge like this. Like you can see how it looks when it moves. Okay? So try to maintain it like this. Blur. But just on the base, not on the tip, because the tip of hair is supposed to be detached with the hair. The one who attach with the hair is just the base. That's why only the base need to be blurred. I hope that information is clear enough. We can try jump to the practice with our previous character design. Okay, before we start to rendering the color, I just realized there is some parts that I need to fix, which is these parts. Thanks God I haven't merged it. So what I'm gonna do, these small parts in here supposed to be on the hair parts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just merge it with bangs one, because this part supposed to in front of the ear, but if I merge it with the head, that part will be behind the ear instead, because the placement of the head is behind the ear. So I'm just gonna draw it like this, and delete the unused parts here, and then so now the position supposed to be correct, because I want that part to be in front of the ear like this. That's already correct. Now we will try to color it one by one. And I like to start the coloring on the head first. So I'm just gonna sketch. Okay, now I'm gonna put it on the side like this. And hide the sketch. So we can use it as our color guide. There isn't much to teach in this section though, because this process will be unique for each artist. So feel free to color it on the style you like the most. Okay, as you can see here in the face, there is some shading on this part, and I don't think I need to separate that. So I will just gonna put it too. It will be a little bit tricky to blend the color for each asset later, but I will try to explain it as clear as possible. But right now, this will be a little bit weird. We can try to blend it better later. And then we try to color the line art. Something like this. And then now we already got the head asset. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna merge this hair root with root base color because we didn't need it to be separated now. So just one layer is enough like this. And I will turn on the rest of hair layers, and the parts that we doesn't need like this line art and the rest of head size. I will delete it using eraser, soft eraser. Try to avoid using normal eraser like this because you can see how disconnected it looks. But if you use soft eraser, it will be blending more like this. So, and I will also use smudge tool. So you can see I can like try to follow the hairline and make it as blend as possible. Okay. Looks good right now. And now I will try coloring the rest of hair. Try to blend it as much as possible. It doesn't really need to be correct right now. I will retouch it later. I just want to focus with the shape now. And then the bangs. Okay, now you can see on the bangs, we want to repair the edge too. We are gonna smoothen it using up to you, blur tool, smudge tool, soft eraser tool. Just make sure the edge is softened, blurred like this. The same with this too. I'm just gonna delete the parts that we didn't use. And then I'm gonna blur the edge. And following the hairline like this. Now you got a more smoother results. It looks blend now. And when I try to move it, it feels nice like you see here. After we already got the overall shape and connection with each hair, we can start detailing it. Probably coloring the line art. I will also delete this part because I want it to look seamless in this part. And I will also smudge it. Maybe we'll do detailing in the coloring later. Just right now, I already got the overall shape I want. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fill up the void like this, the bleed, to make sure they looks connected. Okay, now I'm just gonna want to erase this part so it looks more blended. So it is normal to like keep retouching your base color because there is no way you can like finish it in just one time and always suddenly got what you want. It never happens to me. I always like retouching and retouching. Now we will try to color the ear. Let me hide the hair. I will not color the accessories now. I will just color the ear first. Okay. For the ear, what I like to do is I'm just gonna the same with the head. I will first delete the line art on the side that connected the ear and the face like this. And for the edge, we also want to make it as soft as possible. So I'm just gonna delete the part with soft airbrush to make it more blurry. Okay, like this. And then coloring the parts that connect with the head a little bit brown, like this. That way, when the ear move, it will not disconnect it too much. I will also try to color the edge a little bit like this. Okay. Thing like this. Okay, I think that's enough. The next one I want to color is the face. We will start from the eyelash. I will start from coloring the line art. Okay, and fill the inside with the details you like. Feel free to match with your style. Okay, there is no rules. Just following to your liking. And what I like to do is I will make again blank space so I can just fill the base color to match the head. Yes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill it like this. Okay. Same with the left. Let me hide the other layer so you're not confused. Something like this. I think this is good enough. That one. I think this is good enough. That way when the eyes close. Okay, so I think I will just cover this part. I don't need it in the eyes. So what happened is, when the eyelash closed, it will not work out too much. It looks blended now. Okay, good. Okay, for the bottom eyelid, I will also try to match it with the face. So first I coloring the line art. Then I'm gonna put it here. Then I'm gonna color it. Make the second layer. You can also make this base layer since the beginning, but I just usually match it with the face first, like the head, because sometimes I didn't draw the agiosal this much, so I need to make sure it match the style first. The style also depends on the artist. If you didn't need to draw that part, then you didn't need to make it. Something like this for the bottom eyelid. Then we go to the sclera and try to color it. Okay, now as you can see, if I move the eyeball, the corner is pretty stiff, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna use something like smudge tool. So we smudge the corner. Oh, I'm still using move tool. So now we are using smudge tool. Then I'm just gonna blur the edge. These two, blur it a little bit. So the corner got softened like this. That way when the eyeball move, it's also not like really stiff. Okay. Keep using wrong brush. Just gonna add a little bit red, like this in the corner of the eye. I think I will also add a little bit white there. I don't really have that much to teach you in the coloring because as I said before, I will just assume that you guys are an artist and you already have your own art style. Be something like this. Now for the eyeball, I like to make the corner. I will release the clipping mask for now. Let's mix a little bit with blue. I think it will be nice. Just for an accent. Okay, so you can see for the reflection, I just merge it because I think I prefer if that following the eye. And then for the nose, I think I will just delete this upper part. I didn't use it. Coloring and click it. Don't forget the nostrils. And then for the nose, what I like to do is I'm just gonna block it like this. and then use it as layer 2 for the base color, and then fill it. And coloring it. And we also want to blur the edge. So we are gonna use eraser tool. This. I think this is enough. Okay, we move the nose, it will look blended. Also, there is this lighter part beside the nose, right? I want to add that part too. And I will add more layer in the nose and name it like don't forget the pleat. So about just this is okay. That way we can just move it later with our own liking. I will lecture it with apes. I think I will just erase a little bit part again for the nose since it will still too much. Let me retouch it. I think I will also for the eyebrow. I will put it on folder. Name it eyebrow. Change the line art to 1. And then make. So I plan to put a shadow behind the below the eyebrow, so I can make it blend better. So I will make something like this. Just smudge the edge like usual. Something just like this. For this part too. Okay. So now it will be look like this. Okay, let's turn up the layer to see if it's okay. Okay, with this, I'm pretty sure the eyebrow need to put below. Okay, this one is correct. So the arrangement is the eyebrow will be below the sclera. Just gonna color it a little bit. Something like this. Just want to make sure it's blend well. Okay, so far it's okay. I think the like below this is not brave enough. Just keep retouching, keep retouching. Seems better if I didn't add highlight there. I think it's better to not put highlight. Just black is good enough, I think. I forgot to mention, you probably see on the sketch here, there is like this part of shading on the head, right? But since it the shadow from the bangs, I think I will create that part on After Effects instead, because I plan to make the bank moving a little. So I think I will just later like duplicate my banks and then change it into multiply. With that trick, we doesn't need to reanimate two parts. Rather, we only animate the banks one time. You will understand when we entering the animation parts. Right now, you are probably still confused, but it is normal, especially if you haven't tried animate yet. I will also give you this drawing asset that I made, so you can recheck the layering in more detail later. Now we will try to shade the mouth. Let me turn on. And it depends on your art style too. I'm a type of person who likes to draw lips. That's why I will retouch the lips part here, adding base color. But if you didn't draw lips, you can just uh, draw line art like these parts only. But right now, I want to make the lips. I will also just merge the shading below the lips with the lip base color because I don't think I want to separate that. We will separate the upper and bottom lips later when near the finish because I usually like to just merge the line art and the base color immediately. That's why I need to do it on the very end after make sure it's fixed yet. I think for the back teeth, I will just merge the folder. That's for the mouth. As you can see, the lips still on one asset, but I will just separate it after all of the rendering finish, just to make sure it's balanced. Then we are going to the neck. In the case of texture like a tattoo right now in here, it will be better if you input the assets on the original front view rather than try to match the neck position since the very beginning. Because as we know, if you deform your image too much, it will be end up getting pretty blurred. And that's also happen in After Effects. That's why by putting it on the front view in the beginning, we will reduce the blurred amount that will happen later. It will be better to adjust the perspective later in the After Effects instead, especially for pattern or texture that really small and have a high detail. Okay, for the color, I think I need to add extra parts again. So I want to add more line art card in here. Okay, we will just coloring fully later. Just I want to color the overall view first. Now I will continue coloring the clothes, the inner and outer clothes. Adding a shading. Try to keep your drawing balance overall. So activating other layer in preview will help you. Adding a shading. Try to keep your drawing balance overall. So activating other layer in preview will help you to make sure the assets are blended well with the environment. Sorry if I fast forwarding my video a lot this time, because it is just me trying to rendering and coloring my assets one by one. Since I assume that you guys already have knowledge in drawing and have your own coloring style, so I didn't really have much to teach in this process. But just make sure when coloring each of your assets, use the same shading, coloring technique, and the same color palette. So even though you coloring it on different layer each time, the layer will still look match with each other and have united results. That is why I also want you to decide the color since the rough sketch, because it can help you to make sure overall the results will look balanced. I know also some of you, as an artist, probably have a habit to rendering the color on one layer only, and will have difficult time on drawing it on different layer each time, like what I do. So you can try use the second method, the one I've told you before on previous video, which you just finish the illustration first and then do the splitting for the assets later. But it requires you to do the void filling afterwards. Feel free to decide which technique fit you the most, but it is just this is what I always do on my works all this time. I just want to show you the process of me making it. You can try on your own and see which one suit to your own liking the most. We will also coloring the arm. And now let's render the color for the belt. Don't forget the buckle. Let's also shade the blue edge. And the button. I'm planning to make it shiny too, like have that crystal type of texture. And since I'm sorry, I really not satisfied with the hair, so please let me recolor the hair. And now the earrings. We also will animate the reflective on the earrings. Okay, now we color the wings. I will not put too much detail on the wings. Also, don't forget to color the ring. Make sure the color look connected with each other. So now we already finished coloring the characters and the accessories. You can also try to recheck your assets by moving them and see if it looks blended enough, like the nose, the mouth. Make sure it didn't look disconnected. Okay, so far so good. Okay, I think that's all for this video. We finally finished coloring the characters and the accessories. The next video, I will show you the process of line arting again, but that time is for the hand, for the halo, and for the glasses. Since for the glasses and for the halo, we'll have different kind of preparation, which I will instead draw them from front perspective, like the tattoo, rather than provide it already have a certain angle. We will just draw it from the front. Okay, I will explain on detail later on the next video. Bye!